77.1%. That one number just changed the entire AI race. That's what Google's brand new Gemini 3.1 Pro scored on ARC-AGI 2, one of the hardest reasoning benchmarks on the planet. For context, the previous version, Gemini 3 Pro, scored 31.1%. That's not an upgrade. That's not an improvement. That's Google literally doubling their AI's reasoning ability in 3 months. And I've been going deep on this thing for the past few days. The benchmarks, the demos, the real-world stuff. And honestly, there's one capability they buried inside this model that I don't think anyone is talking about. I'm going to show you that in a few minutes. Stick around. So here's what we're covering today. First, I'm going to break down exactly what Gemini 3.1 Pro is and why it matters right now, not in some future AI world. Then I'm going to show you 3 real-world demos that Google put out, and I'll tell you what they actually mean for you. And then, and this is the part you don't want to miss, I'm going to compare it against GPT and Claude on the benchmarks. The results are not what you'd expect. Let's get into it. Alright, so Google dropped Gemini 3.1 Pro on February 19, 2026. This is not a brand new model from the ground up. It's an upgraded core of the Gemini 3 series, which means it's been purpose-built to do one thing better than anything else: reason through hard problems. And when Google says hard, they mean it. ARC-AGI 2 is a benchmark where the AI literally has to solve brand new logic patterns it has never seen before. Not memorized answers, not pattern matching from training data. Pure, live problem solving. Gemini 3.1 Pro got 77.1%. That beat GPT 5.2 at 52.9%. That beat Claude Opus at 68.8%. And here's the thing. On GPQA Diamond, which tests deep scientific knowledge, chemistry, biology, physics, 3.1 Pro hit 94.3%. That's higher than every single competitor on that list. But benchmarks are just numbers on a screen. You want to see what this actually looks like in the real world? Because this is where it gets interesting. And I want to show you one demo in particular where someone gave this model a single text prompt. This built a high-fidelity interactive 3D ISS orbital tracker, render a detailed 3D Earth using a high-resolution blue marble texture map, and it built a live interactive aerospace dashboard that tracks the International Space Station in real time. That's not a gimmick. That's actually insane. And I'll explain why in just a second. So Google showed off 4 major demos with 3.1 Pro. Number 1. Animated SVGs from a text prompt. You type something, it generates a fully coded, animated graphic. Not a video file, not a heavy image, pure code. Which means it scales perfectly and the file size is tiny. For developers and designers, that's massive. Number 2. The ISS tracker. Someone literally asked it to build a live aerospace dashboard that pulls real telemetry data from a public NASA stream and visualizes the ISS's orbit in real time. The model didn't just write some code. It understood how to configure the API, structure the data, and design a clean interface. One prompt. That's it. Number 3. A 3D Starling murmuration. This is where I actually paused the video and replayed it. They asked the model to simulate a flock of birds in 3D, and not just visually. It added hand tracking so you can move the flock with your hands, and it generated a live musical score that shifts based on how the birds are moving. And number 4, they gave it Wuthering Heights, the classic novel, and asked it to build a modern personal portfolio inspired by the book's atmosphere. It didn't just summarize the story. It understood the tone, the darkness, the emotion, and designed a sleek, contemporary website that feels like the book. Now here's the thing I haven't told you yet. Some of these benchmarks? Gemini 3.1 Pro doesn't win all of them. There's actually one area where Claude is beating Google right now. And honestly, knowing that actually tells you something really important about where AI is heading. I'll show you exactly what I mean. So let's do the honest comparison, because the AI space is full of hype, and I'd rather just show you the numbers. On coding, SWE-Bench Verified, which tests whether the model can solve real GitHub issues, Gemini 3.1 Pro scores 80.6%. Claude Opus 4.6 gets 80.8%. Basically tied. GPT 5.2 gets 80%. Also basically tied. The coding gap between the top 3 models right now? Razor thin. On long context tasks, Gemini supports a 1 million token context window. That means you can throw an entire legal document, a full code base, or hours of transcripts at it, and it handles it. So where can you actually use Gemini 3.1 Pro right now? If you're a regular user, it's rolling out in the Gemini app. You need an AI Pro or Ultra plan. It's also live on Notebook LM if you're on Pro or Ultra. If you're a developer, it's available in preview right now on Google AI Studio, the Gemini API, Vertex AI, Gemini CLI, and Android Studio. If you want me to do a full hands-on test of Gemini 3.1 Pro, like actually using it for real tasks, not just Google's curated demos, drop a comment below. I'll make that the next video. And if you found this useful, share it with someone who talks about AI. Let's see if they spot the same things I did. See you in the next one.